Yeah, good morning to one and all. I would like to start about a topic Whirlpool cipher. Here, the Whirlpool cipher is same as SHA 512, but there are some differences in this and that. Initially, when we have the given message, here the message length is 256 bit, and the total length of the message should be a multiple of 512 bits. Yeah, that's a rule. The total length of the message must be a multiple of 512 bits. So here we have a message length fixed as 256 bits. So the remaining is original message as well as padding. So the original message as well as padding, they should be an odd multiple of 256 bits. So if it is an odd multiple of 256 and the message length is 256, will be when we'll be combining the whole length of the message will be a multiple of 512 bits. And next here, uh, as we form the multiple of 512 bits, each 512 bits we will be performing the encryption process. As you can see in the ppt, there are so many 512 bits blocks, and each 512 blocks, here we don't have a function. Instead of function we have a whirlpool cipher. The whirlpool cipher performs same as like as a function. Here in the Whirlpool cipher, initially we will be getting the plain text from the 512 bits block, and you can see the H naught. This is 512 bits. It is called as a cipher key. Cipher key. Here we will get the cipher key from the left side. Initially, it contains all zeros, and we will get the plain text from the above block. And in the encryption process, the XOR operation takes between the plain text and the cipher key, and it produces the cipher text. And after producing the cipher text from the first block, it acts as a cipher key to the next block, and the process goes till to the end of the all blocks. And at the end of the last block, the cipher text which we received is a message digest. Yeah, this process repeats for the whole 512 blocks. But what happens in the encryption process, we will see now. In the encryption process, we will have 10 rounds, whereas in the SHA-512, we have 18 rounds. Yeah, the only difference is there we have 80 rounds, and here we have 10 rounds. You can see in the PPT. See, initially from the message block, you will get the plain text, and from the key expansion from the left side, you will have a cipher key, and in each round, it generates a specific key. For example, for round one, it generates K1. For round two, it generates K2, and for round 10, it generates K10. So by using this plain text and by using this key, it performs the XOR operation, and it produces a cipher text at the end of the each round. Here, in each encryption, we have 10 rounds. And in each round, we have some specific transformations. I will show it. Yeah, in each round, we have the 4 transformations. The first transformation is subbytes, second one is shift column, third one is mix row, and fourth one is add round key. In the first one, means first what is a state. See, here we have 10 rounds. So in each round we will having these 4 transformations. So to know these 4 transformations, first you should know what is a state. Yeah, a state is a square matrix of size 8 into 8, so total 64 bytes. In each byte you will be having 8 bits, and the each byte is represented in the form of hexadecimal, like 4c, 5b, 6f. And means 4 means here it represents 4 bytes, and the next word represents other 4 bytes. That is a state means it's a square matrix of size 8 into 8 bits. So the first transformation which we applied on the state is subbytes. So what happens in this subbyte state? Yeah, now onwards it's important, so listen carefully. So in subbytes, see, this is a state. As we see here, there are 2 states. The left side what you are seeing is the initial state, and the right side what you are seeing is the final state. So in the initial state, as I have said, we will be having a square matrix of size 8 into 8, and in each byte we will be having a number, for example 4c, 5b. So For example, if we have 4C, then the left one means 4C. In that 4 represents the row and C represents the column. So what we have to do means we have to take means in a table we will be having the whole information. Yeah, the table is here. Yeah, once after explanation I will show with an example. So if we having 4C, the 4 represents row and C represents column. So in the table, you have to search for 4 and you have to search for C, and where there is an interaction point, and that interaction there will be a number. That number you should be replaced in the box. See, for instance, this is the table you have, and see at the right side of the table you having EA 046585. Actually there will be a 8 by 8 square matrix, but for showing an example I just took a 4 by 4 square matrix. See there, initially you have EA. See in the EA, E represents row and A represents column. So now to know what we have to replace in the EA, once compare it in the table. See, when you compare E, take E as row and A as column. See, there I have marked with an blue color marker. You can see the 87 number at the interaction point of EA. So that 87 you have to replace in EA. So like that, in actually in every state you will be have 8 into 8, so total you will be having 64 bytes. For each byte you have to see the row and column, and where there is an interaction point you should replace them and you should find the new state. This whole process, takes in the subbytes. Means generally the subbytes is a linear transformation. You should generally see what is a row and what is a column, and just you need to replace it. So it's generally called as a linear transformation. And the second step, see, first you will have an initial state, and the initial state, the subbytes transformation will be done. After the subbytes transformation, that state is taken into the shift column transformation. And now this is the second phase. In the shift column transformation, the name itself indicates you are shifting the columns, but here listen carefully. The first column is remained unchanged, means we will not change the first column. Only after the first column we will change. That means in the second column we will shift 1 bit down, and in the third column we will shift 2 bits down. In the fourth column we will shift 3 bits down. Yeah, if I show you an example you can understand it clearly. Yeah, now once look into it. At left side you are having a state. Yeah, generally you will be having a 8 into 8, but for showing an example I have took 4 into 4. And see, initially, see, I have marked the numbers upside 1 2 3 4. 1 2 3 4 indicates 1 means first column, 2 means second column, 3 means third column, 4 means fourth column. See, and the shift column means the process I have indicated at the arrow mark, and the right side is after the transformation. See, in this I have, as I have said, the first column remains unchanged. So you can see that 14 2D D to 44 they have remained unchanged. And I have said that the second column will be shifted 1 bit down. So 91 is in the first row, and after the transformation it has, as I said, that in the second column there will be a 1 bit transformation, so it will come 1 bit down. So you can see that 91 is in the second row in the second column. And the third column, here we will be having 2 bit transformation, so we have to move each one 2 bits down. So you can see that 7f is in the first place, and in the next diagram 7f is in the third place. And the fourth column, yeah, as I have said, the fourth column should be shifted 3 bits down. So you can see that 77 is first in the first row, but in the second one you can see it in the fourth position. So I have shifted 3 bits down. Yeah, actually this process is very simple. You will be not changing the first column, and second column we will be shifting n minus 1 bits. So if we want to change the 8th column, we will be shifting n bits down. Means we will, from first position we will shift to the 7th position. Yeah, this is the second transformation stage, and the result of this stage is sent into the third transformation stage, and the third transformation stage is known as mix row. Yeah, in this mix row, as I have said, we will have the state. Here we will be having a constant matrix. Constant matrix, the name indicates that it's constant. But what we have to do is, the name itself says mix rows. So first we have to consider each row. For example, in the PPT it is marked as yellow color. So you can say that first we have to choose, take one row, and that one row is multiplied with this constant matrix. So when we multiply with this one row with this constant matrix, we will be getting a another one row. That row is placed in the new state. Next we have to consider the second row, and second row we have to multiply with the constant matrix. Then we will get another row. Like that we will be having 8 by 8 matrix, means we will be having 8 rows. So each row we have to separately multiply with this constant matrix, and we will get a new row. That all 8 rows will be combined together, and it will be sent into a new stage. That happens in the mixed row transformation. Yeah, it's very easy. We have to consider each row and we have to multiply with the constant matrix. That's it. And the last transformation is the add round key. In this add round key means means to say generally in 8 by 8 matrix we will be having total 64 bytes. For each byte, the cipher Whirlpool cipher will be sending a key byte. We have to perform the bitwise XOR operation. Means in the orange color it is indicated the XOR operation. But what it actually means we have to consider one byte in this stage, and for that byte the Whirlpool cipher will be generating a key. Now we have to perform the bitwise XOR operation. Means for each bit we have to perform the bitwise, and the resulting will be placed in the respective field in the new state. And that for all the 64 bits we have to perform this operation, and we will be getting the new state. Yeah, these all are the four states. Once I will summarize to remember quickly. Initially we will be having one state, and in the sub bytes is generally a linear transformation. We will be having a rows and column. So we have to see a row and column, and we have to match in the table, and we have to change it. And the next is shift column. In the shift column the first column will be remained unchanged, and for the nth column n-1 transformations we have to do. And next the mix row. In the mix row we will be having a constant matrix, and for each row we have to multiply with that constant matrix. Then we get a new row. Then all the new rows is placed in one. And in the add round key, for all the 64 bits, the Whirlpool cipher will be generating one key. We have to perform the XOR operation, and the resultant is stored in the new state. The now I have said the four transformations. These four transformations will be performed in the every round. That means in the total 10 rounds it will perform 40 transformations. And after these 40 transformations, now you can see here you can see a plus symbol. Now after these 40 transformations you can get the cipher text. Now that cipher text will be acting as a cipher key for the next encryption. Like that, how many 512 blocks we have, that many times the process is repeated, and finally we will get the cipher text. And to summarize, I want to say that here we will be using the block. As I have mentioned initially, the total block size should be a multiple of 512 bits. So the block size is a multiple of 512 bits, and we know that the block size and the cipher key size should be same, so that the cipher key size is also 512 bits. And the number of rounds, as I have mentioned, we know that in each encryption the number of rounds is 10. And this substitution means in sub bytes transformation we are performing, and means they indicate that. And I want to just say one last point. See here, see once see this diagram carefully. See here, encryption means this total process. Here they have indicated from round 1 to round 10. Means in each round, as I have mentioned, we have four transformations, and in the transformations at the fourth round, means at the fourth transformation we have an add round key process. So what this Whirlpool cipher will do means, initially in the key expansions we will be getting the round key constant. That means k0, k1, k2, k3 up to k10. For each round the k expansion will generate a key. So here So here what the Whirlpool cipher will do means for add key round, whatever the round key is generated, it uses that. Means for first round, as he as here it for first round it has generated k1 key k1, here it will use k1. So for round 2 it will use the round key has generated key k2, so that round key they will use in the round 2. So similarly in the round 10 it will use the key 10, so that it process may become easier.